why they think people are sexually attracted to feet?
No, I have not.
There's like these two parts of your brain, one that thinks about feet and then one that thinks about sex, and they're like right next to each other. Like, you know how
Okay.
like genetically you're more likely to have freckles if you got ginger hair?
This is like the thin hotel wall theory.
Yeah. So those wires, they're so close, they can get crossed real fast.
Interesting.
And that's why scientists, some scientists, some neuroscientists, in fact, think that some people get foot fetishes because, the brain just took the wrong off-ramp because they're so close together.
I mean, I'm not a neuroscientist, and that makes sense to me.
Like, like the West Seattle Bridge exit. It's like
Yes.
154A, and then there's B right
Gotta
there.
be careful.
You got to be careful. So
Gotta be careful.
anyway, that
Because otherwise you end up under the bridge, and you don't want to end up under the bridge.
and that makes sense to me, not being a foot guy. But, it's just a brain thing that,
I took the right exit, I guess.
well, we're not kink shaming on this pod.
No, to me.
Okay, so you said you wanted me
Crikey,
to
that's
share
good.
the theory with you on mic as long as it was related to it. Welcome
So
to
now,
Derry, but you pressed
transition.
record before confirming with me
That it
what
was.
the theory was about.
well, hot
But-
mic, hot story.
Yeah, we can transition to it. Welcome to Derry, and I'd like to start.
There is no format to this show. Would you like to start with me doing the one format thing we have done so far?
Yeah, we can do that, and then I'd like to start.
Perfect.
Okay, so you start, and then I'll start.
Okay. Lowercase I, uppercase T, : Welcome to Derry, Maine. Season 1, Episode 7. Penultimate episode. Begin.
Now you want to be a stickler for format, but you've never thrown Maine in there at the end.
I
of the
have
title,
I have
so
at least
I don't know.
once.
I'd love to.
I
I'd love to
literally
check the
just did
scoreboard.
it last week.
We watched the ep here a week ago in these seats, and we got done with the ep, and it seemed like you didn't have a nice time because you were shaking your head and muttering, and I said, what's going on? Would you like to talk about it? And you said, no, I'm not going to give it away for free. I'm going to
Give it away for free.
tell you on the pod.
I'm going to record it and give it away. I'm going to cost myself money to give it away.
And I said, okay, we're right here talking, ready to talk about it. I guess I'll wait a week. So you started, and then I started, but I'd
now
like
you
you
want
to start
you actually like me to
by
start.
explaining what your mutterings were.
I just finished that up. That was just the worst episode.
Wow.
Do you disagree?
Yes.
I felt like
What's your hat, by the way?
this
Is
is
this
the Brûleur de Loup.
Is that
It
a
is the
French thing?
Flaming Wolves. It is the Grenoble hockey team of the Ligue Magnus.
I like that logo.
I
That's
like it
cool.
as well.
Yeah.
I like buying minor league hockey hats when I go see them overseas, which is now 2 times that I've seen overseas teams. The one I bought for the Belfast Giants, which was a great team and a fun game, was not as cool as this hat, and I got one anyways. I was doubly surprised to find a hat that A, I like, and B, was of this small team.
Okay, continue.
We are on an off ramp.
I was just not going to be able to
This is
concentrate
how
on
you
what
end
were
up
saying.
into feet. For how impactful that moment was supposed to be, we talked about
Sorry,
how they
which moment?
cheapened it. The black spot burning down. A couple things ruined it for me, and I think we talked about this a little bit in last episode. But having the quote unquote accused murderer hiding in the black spot was not helping your case. Having a big public party with that in there also not helping your case. I'm not saying that not the murderer. Clearly there was some racial bias that led to him being associated with this. I think they did the right thing once it came to the face off. But I think I would have moved him out of the club that night if you're like, hey, we're going to have a whole bunch of people over in a big party. Maybe not have him there out in the open half the time. No, he was kind of hiding. in the back room, I guess.
It's a black military club. There's going to be a fairly confined audience.
Well, I mean, they'd already
Anyway.
let in kids,
Yes.
which we talked about. Well, and I think, like, part of that, what is also kind of what bugs me is that we went from this episode that was supposed to highlight our young kid and to make his sacrifice impactful. His sacrifice
Richie.
was, yes, Richie's sacrifice was impactful, and I do miss him, and he was a great character. I thought that his whole drum performance was just kind of dumb, and so it kind of like cheapened his whole death. I thought there were some scenes that were lovely in this episode. The scene between when he locks our latest hero, who was kind of a baddie most of the episode, in the chase in the chest to save her was a good heroic moment, and I enjoyed it. It felt a little bit like Jack on the raft, or in the water, and Rose on the raft. I feel like
Is that a Titanic reference?
it is.
I've never seen Titanic.
I know, that's why I'm using.
I know
feel
the
like
boat goes down.
You know that there is a debate about the raft,
No.
and they could both lie on the raft.
No.
There's a whole scene at the end where Jack is in the water with his arms on this broken board, and Rose is on the board, and there's clearly enough room for both of them, and he slips away out of, freezing to death in this Arctic water. And the debate for many years is, could he survive? And I think actually James Cameron recently spent a whole bunch of money and ran the science and was like, yeah, I think you're right, they both could have been on the which is incredible. Like, as much as crap as James Cameron gets for Avatar and things like that, he is kind of a funny dude. And he's really just kind of into the ocean.
He loves
the ocean.
He loves
Anyways, I feel like they both totally could have been in that chest. But that would have cheapened it. And that's not the point. That was a beautiful moment of that episode. I will give it that, and I thought that was great. I just felt like there was so many unnecessary choices that didn't get explained as like people making evil choices because it is like corrupting them. It got cheapened because Our Lady, what is it? Ira?
Ingrid?
Ingrid?
Mm-hmm.
Ingrid Kirsch. She apparently sets this whole thing up, and that also kind of cheapens it, as if like this is all supposed to be its doing, and it just kind of like makes him this like no motivation character. He just shows up when there's evil, when he's like the cause of it. He's the underlying like root of the evil that happens in it, and this episode kind of didn't follow that rule at all. And it bugged me even more when this like mob shows up and they make even stupider decisions, not out of like unbridled racism and anger, but just like, this guy killed people, so now we're going to kill everybody. It didn't, like, none of it made sense, and none of it was explained in this way that was like, I can't control myself, I'm doing something crazy. Like, they saw kids in the bar and they still throw Molotov cocktails in it. It makes zero sense. It wasn't like they were like
kids too.
Yeah,
white kids.
It just was. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I thought it just like it really cheapened what I think the black spot is in the story of it, and how it's like there is this very amazing story that Mike Hanlon tells that his dad told him about the black spot, and in this case he actually lives through it as a kid, I guess. No, it's his dad as a child, not his dad as an army person. His dad was an adult in the book, but either way, it's a very good story talking about some very real race issues that happened in a town. It had nothing to do with like kids disappearing and being accused of it. It was just like this, overwhelming eruption of this underlying racism that it like fed off of and turned into this thing. And instead it just became this like cheaper version of that race story, if that makes sense.
Interesting. I thought you were going to go towards the other part of the episode.
Which one?
Well, we can stay on the black spot for a little bit, but General Shaw
I mean, General
and
Shaw's.
his big villain turn,
I think I'm
which
just not.
I thought was absurd.
That was. Oh man, now you're even reminding me.
That's where I thought you were
forgot.
going.
Well, that part doesn't make me angry because that story's been weak the whole show. Like, there's been there were brief moments where that story intrigued me just to be like, I wonder where they're going with this. But to see that that's where they went with it was even worse.
Agree.
I mean, do you want to talk about the black spot thing, and then we can get into this outrageous piece of the story as well?
I do.
Like, because I assume you have some opinions on it.
I do. So I hear you. I want to start by saying I was thrilled for that scene the entire time. I agree that there's some inconsistencies and some weird narrative choices that they made during it, including I do think both of them could have fit in the box. I do think that totally kept it. The Richie and what's her name? The Richie and his
Marge.
Richie and Marge part of this seemed like it was just a completely different movie. It really seemed like some like Nancy Drew boxcar children.
Well, what's also interesting about
type of
that is they
thing.
forced this love story in like 2 eps between the two of them, and it's what would have been a great story when television was still 12 or 26 episodes long, and when you cut it down to 8 episodes, you just cut that story altogether.
I can see why they didn't want to. The kids were doing a fantastic job
Yeah,
acting the hell out of it.
yeah.
But I just it did not really make sense that he had to not fit in the box, or at the end of it, not find somewhere else to go. I mean, Dick is finding a little tunnel out and taking some of the other kids out. It just, that part was completely inconsistent. But
I mean, when you needed Richie was like the perfect actor to pull in and do this role, and then be the sacrifice, right? Like, that's the whole point. He's actually kind of a second version of Teddy, which is one of the kids who dies in the beginning. Like, those two friends of Matt who die in like the first step, they have some of that appeal to them, but they had to die so quick you don't get to really like, fall in love with their story. And like, I thought it was good. I don't think you need to take away him dying. I think that was very key to this story, and to like give some emotional like damage to what is going on in this period of time with it. But it just didn't make sense that they needed to include the love story with Marge. Like, I liked Marge's character. I don't know if you needed to add her to the Losers Club for this story for how short this 8 episodes was.
I read some chatter online asking why the fire was so very neat, why his body is
Not burnt.
not impacted at all,
Yeah.
and in his dying breath,
He really
it
just
sounds
died
like
of
he's
smoke inhalation.
going to sleep. Instead, there's no wheezing or anything like that, which, I don't know, a little nitpicky, but it is kind of funny. It was a very neat and tidy fire. But I thought the sequence overall was thrilling. The oneer shot that they had there at the beginning, I mean, it started with just one single. Maybe they spliced it up through Hollywood movie magic, but it started with like one 5-minute continuous shot, and then kind of broke down from there. But I thought that the filming and the action set piece there was as good as anything they did.
When there was the confrontation before the flame, the abruptness of what happened was there.
And
at times I felt like it was a play version of a fire, though.
Well, I think that gets to the body not looking outside walls and not really touching anything. You could run around through the whole section. There wasn't any furniture on fire, falling roof parts or anything like that you had to navigate around.
That's also, they jumped in the chest because the roof was going to fall, and then the roof just never falls, and so he just dies of smoke inhalation.
It was kind of funny. It took me by surprise too, because the episode doesn't actually start there at the fire. We go back in time to a scene with Pennywise before he's it, and how he gets led into
of how he gets eaten.
The woods, which was not necessary at all. It gave us no information to how this might have happened or why or anything like that. And I thought it was a very curious. It wasn't scary. It wasn't anything. I thought it was a curious thing. So when The racist,
It explains Ingrid more than anything, but it doesn't like.
we already knew she loved her father.
But like that's what's again, it's like another thing that's so weird about. Like there's an obsession with Pennywise when Pennywise has nothing really to do with what this it character is. It's just a terrifying thing that he chooses to use to like lure children. And so that's what this has become an origin story of Pennywise, right? And what's odd is that he leans on Pennywise so that he can this evil to happen without her, as if he somewhat relies on her, which is like
that's what I was saying.
which is how
week.
the episode
Agreed.
ends, right? He turns on her and is like, I don't need you, like I'm not,
Oh, you have some thoughts on that as well.
but it was just so unnecessary, which it like is the whole show is unnecessary. And I say that with actual deep love for this show. Like I do like this show and I do like what's happening. I just don't know why any of it's happening.
But we get from that sort of prologue piece into the black spot, and the racists come in and they have this showdown, and the folks who are already at the bar are like, hey, we have guns too.
Yep.
And then they back down. And I thought to myself, oh, that's why we had that prologue that wasn't very effective, but I think they wanted it to be, because we weren't going to get the black spot today. We're going to get it next week. So when they go outside and start lobbing Molotov cocktails in, I was very surprised from an episode construction standpoint. Now you can say, Micah, you were also confused because it doesn't make much narrative sense for them to just immediately start firebombing tiny children, and I would have to agree with you. But in the moment, I was very surprised because I thought the prologue was there in place of, knowing that we're anticipating the black spot and they're going to hold it in reserve.
The black spot is like, and that's what scares me that we have another episode because this should be the set piece, and it in some ways was the set piece to the show, right? This was what we were all leading up
Yes.
to. And
I still think the opening scene in the car is the best one.
yeah,
But this one was right up there. 1A, 1B.
it definitely had the abruptness
loved
to it. It had a couple of shots in there, like people were getting murdered very fast, which it would like.
Yeah. And it was so very gory. Heads are getting blown off. It's so tense, and it really was a strange comparison to the Richie and Marge storyline, which again I thought it seemed like a completely different story to me. And maybe that's on purpose. Maybe I'm supposed to rock with that because that's kind of how it's always been. But I thought that was a little.
Like another thing
strange
to bring up with that, which is like kind of the dichotomy of this whole thing, is like that's going on while it's running around this fire eating people. Mm-hmm. Why did he not confront and eat Richie at any point during this? And I say that not in a like that's unbelievable, but also it makes for a way cooler way for Richie to die. Like in all honesty, if I was reshooting that scene and you've got this moment between Richie and Marge on the box. Like if you want the impact, instead of doing that like 5 minutes of them weirdly crying near this body when they should have been escorted from the fire immediately after you find a survivor in a fire, you just leave her there to stay for some freaking reason. I thought it was going to go where they go in this box, Marge is talking to Richie, and then you just hear a huge thump. They don't have to show anything. He already talked about how the roof is going to collapse, and like that's the impactful, like scary ending that you get out of that. You don't have to show a crushed child body. You don't have to show a crushed head, whatever.
If you want to, though.
But if you want to, you can. But like that was way more would have been way more impactful. Blah blah blah. Too many I's, M's, and P's. Way more impactful than just like, oh, he died peacefully of smoke inhalation, and here he is, and we can cry on his body for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then after that,
Yes.
staying in the same setting, Ingrid meets up with Pennywise after Pennywise eats her husband. So putting this together, did we confirm that Ingrid was the one who made the tip call?
Yes, she even says it outright, and explains it in a way that makes me feel like they think the audience is dumb as fuck.
I was all over that one. Her husband is there, part of the racist bunch of losers.
His car doesn't start.
His car doesn't start. Why does his car not start?
Because it's bad.
It wasn't because it was sabotaged by Ingrid?
I could totally believe that, because she did show up but she didn't show up to confront her husband. She showed up to talk to her dad.
They didn't show this, but it's certainly, what's the word? A lucky happenstance that it's his car that happens to be the one
And she
to
does
be left behind. So I wonder if she had a hand in that.
I could totally believe that, because she is trying to like reveal herself to him as well. She kind of does this like, this is me thing.
Back on it.
Over the week, I could totally believe it. It just doesn't matter. Like, it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a mystery. I need to.
But everything is meaningless. King Solomon.
I guess you know what I'm saying. It's just it makes no change to the story whatsoever.
I thought that scene was also very tense when Pennywise comes and eats the husband.
Yes, the Pennywise talking to her is always good. The Skarsgård performances as Pennywise are always tremendous and always scary, and you never know what he's going to do, and it's just his creepy movement in general is like off the charts awesome. Her performance is also great as this character. I just don't care about her character. So that scene was good. It's just, again, it just doesn't fit anything.
No, and the worst part is, so
we get to see the deadlights.
That part was great, but the worst part is that she, basically, in my theory, feeds Pennywise her husband.
Yeah.
Pennywise eats him up, gives her one hug, and says he has to go nappykins now.
Yeah, he's got to go sleep now.
He's a tired little boy.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's the point where she says, "Oh, you're not my dad at all."
Yeah.
After all,
well, it's not even. It isn't to give some. It's not quite that bad. She does yell at him. Because she's abandoning her again. Which is the whole thing. So she does kind of yell at him, and she's like, "You can't leave me." And then when she kind of grabs him and he turns around, that's when he's like, "You're not my dad." But yeah, I guess that's. Again, it just doesn't. Of course, he's not your dad.
Yeah,
If she's in it, she's in it. She's not gonna come to a clairvoyant moment. She's in it.
Right. That part just seemed ridiculous to me. Of course, you already knew that. And why was this the part where all of a sudden you've got your Saul and the road to Damascus type of moment?
Yeah.
That just that fell absolutely flat for me.
I guess it just all got washed away, because you're right. The next scene is just ridiculous. It's a whole different show. I think that's there's like these 3 different shows happening at the same time, and they all feel different. And anytime, and we talked about this last episode, anytime you bring 2 of them together, the whole thing just feels off and weird, because it's literally like you took 2 pieces of film and set them over each other and projected them onto something, and you're like, this doesn't look right.
And there's cool ways you could do that. There's other movies and shows that have done something similar before. Going back to the Black Spot, where we've got 2 children being extremely childish while everything is devastated around them. I don't think it quite got there for me, but I could see a reshoot of it where the juxtaposition of those 2 things was very powerful.
Also, did the Black Spot seem about 4 times as large as it was?
Oh yeah.
Once it was on fire.
Oh yeah, it was
the
house from House of Leaves.
Rooms.
Yeah, it was ever expanding. So then the other story is General Shaw is revealing to us that he's not actually going to take it and use it on our enemies.
We're not trying to shrink it. He just wants to let it out.
He wants to let it loose on America, because in these divided times, the only thing that's going to unify us all back up is it.
This is our giant squid. in The Watchmen.
This was the part that I thought you were going to have some big problems with because his plan doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but it's like it's they do it. A lot of people do this, like, and The Watchmen is the first one I go back to, and in the graphic novel The Watchmen, it is a squid. He drops this giant squid that no one's ever seen before. It's from the bottom of the ocean, and he teleports it into New York as this like way of tricking the world into thinking that aliens are invading. And that's his evil plan. It's like he's trying to unite the world against like a common cause. And what's amazing about that story is he's the whole time he's telling you this and he's doing this I'm an evil person monologue, and you think, how are we going to stop this? He's already done it, which is like, that's what makes that graphic novel so amazing. Is he goes, here's like, you're so used to the like Dr. Evil, Doctor Who, like here's what I'm about to do, watch me get away with this plan. But he's already done it. He's not stupid. He's like, I've already done the whole plan. Like, I'm just telling you what my plan was right now. It's like, it's too late. It's already in place. But it's the same plan where you're just like, we're going to unite the world around this common thing because I see corruption everywhere. But I rarely see it done in a good way. It's typically done this way where it's just like, it's never coming from someone who has actual loss. Does that make sense? Like, this general of the U.S. Army is not a character who should think the world is going wrong. He's living on the top of it all. Do you know what I mean?
I do. That's not even where I was bumping. Yeah, but yes, I hear you.
And so like that's like, yes, it's an awful plan, obviously, because as we know, the monster deals in a way that people just forget his existence, its existence,
and it's
her existence.
highly localized.
Well, that's what
he comes to have a personal relationship with you, like our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He's not doing the whole country. And in your example, the squid wasn't doing the whole country either, but you could certainly read about it in the newspapers the next day. It isn't in the newspapers.
Well, I think that's the plan, right? They're trying to let this thing out. But I don't think...
But he's still in one specific
that's
spot.
not... Yeah.
And when you have an interaction with him, nobody believes that you did.
That's not the way it operates. Period.
Yeah, the plan doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, especially because there was a period of time when it was out on its own anyways, and it was never like it was trying to... I mean, I guess they kind of sell the story as if it was trying to expand. That's another piece of where this, like... Obviously, what we're going to get in this last episode is they're going to rebuild the shield with the piece that Lily has. That's my assumption. What's going to happen in the story is they're going to fix the shield, which, again... We keep introducing fear to it, which is the whole point of the story, is that they've never experienced it before, and it's scared of it all of a sudden when it has to deal with these kids in the 80s for the first time. And so all of this backstory about a losers club that defeats him in some way just kind of ruins it for me.
Well, if you're correct, and they do just make that little thing out of the magic wand that she has, I don't think it needs to have been afraid during this. They just have to trick it into a spot.
Yeah, but it loses a battle. It's already shown fear of this thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're correct, it's part of the asteroid fence that's keeping it confined anyway. So that's been there the whole time. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't think if there's two ways they can go about doing it. One, I think, would alleviate your concern, where they just set a trap for it. It has to go and try and eat one of the kids, and it falls into the cage, and then it's trapped again for another 27 years or whatever.
I just assume they're going to replace
Or they can do some sort of victory thing that looks like a real, actual victory, and doing exactly what you're saying. I don't think it has to be that way. We'll find out fairly shortly. But I think they can do it without troubling your pretty little head on that one. Everything else,
You know what the most interesting story has been that we don't talk about much because they don't do it much, and they touched on it for maybe 30 seconds this episode, but you see the Council of
Our Native American
our Native
Council?
Americans and they're bringing up the total number of people that have died in this cycle and like their responsibility to like limit the amount of deaths and how that's kind of weighing on some of them, but not nearly enough. Like that needs to be such a bigger conversation. Like I would be way more interested in the arguments that they have internally about we should do something about this and like no, our only job is to make sure this thing stays trapped. That's like a way more interesting story to me than they basically are bookkeepers at this point. Like that's their role to this. They say they're minimizing it, but I don't know how they're minimizing the impact of this thing just by like keeping it in this small circle without any thought over hundreds of years about how they might shrink it or fight it or anything. At this point, they're just like, nope, status quo. That's how we operate. I would like to see that more. I did like some of it in that, and I also, to this day, love the term shit ass, and I'm so glad that
Did
they
you know
used
that
it.
is a Native American term?
I did, only because
Why?
of reservation dogs.
That's my only source for it too. I thought that was a highly localized term there, and I think it's like Oklahoma area, Midwest. But here they're saying it in their little council too.
Yeah, I love it.
I love the term as well. Shout out to Reservation Dogs. Did you watch the Lowdown? Same creator.
I don't think I have seen the lowdown, but now
It's
I will.
good. Yeah, you should.
Anyways, the general goes on to destroy one of the, what do they call them? The
Meteor
totems.
sticks.
They kill one of the totems that's trapping our creature, and we get a very awesome shot of the creature down in the sewer. Do love that. But also,
He goes Sleepykins. He goes Goodnight Noodles.
yeah,
And our last shot is him waking up, presumably because one of these things has been destroyed.
Right.
Right? That's how you read it?
yeah. So, but I guess my question is like on two fronts. One, why would he wake up? If he needs to go to bed, he needs to go to bed.
He's a tired Tyrannosaur.
Um,
But he there's a
I guess, but like my point is he has this cycle. This cycle doesn't change because of the prison. It's his cycle. I keep saying his. I know in the book is canonically a female, but its cycle is like this 28-year thing that happens, and they go to sleep when they're done with that thing. If they went to sleep when they're done with their thing, it doesn't like this totem disappearing. It's a very weak story that it changes its cycle. Because in my mind, if the cycle isn't something it has to adhere to, it would just keep killing in its tiny little domain forever. But it like has to adhere to this thing. So unless it's this cage that is the reason it has this cycle, then I guess I just don't really get the point of that. Like, obviously, we need it for this next episode and the face-off that's going to happen. But it just, like, I guess you could say it's waking because it thinks it can escape this cage. And
that was my read, and they kept referring to this in a different way that I was conceptualizing it. When they first were talking about it, it's like it's 13 of these little magical turtle stones, right, around generally a rectangle. And I kind of figured that was like a, like a charge or something. And it's 13 are powering up a charged ring around it. And if you remove one, the ring is slightly weaker as a whole. But the way they were talking about it in the episode, in the army people, they were talking about it as if you leave a gate open.
Yeah.
Which kind of doesn't make sense to me structurally, but that's the way they were talking about it. Now, instead, they've removed one, and instead of this being weakened by one magic stick, instead they're talking about it being, a hole here, and then the rest of it is normal strength. So I wonder if they're correct about that.
I guess the way I would think of that, if that's actually the way the magic works and you need 13, then it would all just break, right? It wouldn't just create one small hole for him to get out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of thought they'd have to get rid of a couple more to make any sort of dent in this, but the way they were talking in the ep led me to believe that he can get out now.
Yeah, that's my assumption. I agree with you there. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense.
Engineer to engineer. No.
Yes, well, I mean, that's...
I guess I should say engineer to engineer guy.
Big engineer guy over here.
Yeah. I'm not an engineer. It's more of a hobby.
I think what kills me about that, and like we can dig into it, is that there's something like sacred in fantasy, that a good fantasy has grounded laws of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like magic can't just be anything and everything. Otherwise, like there's nothing to follow. And they need to build a little bit more lore and logic to this. And I think I talked about it last episode. It gets shot right in the head. The whole weakness explained in the book is that by it inhabiting whatever or being whatever creature it is, and you believing that creature is what that thing is, that's its weakness, right? So if you shoot someone who's your mother in the head, like, why does that thing just glance off that blow, laugh about it, and just shoot off in the water?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I am excited for the finale. I think it'll be fun. I still like this show. I guess I'm happy they're having a second season.
I think a lot of that will depend on how the finale goes, right? Because my prediction for the finale is the kids meet up with the Native American Council and replace the
they're gonna give them this
thing.
I think we're gonna get a little bit of the kids versus it for a little bit, and they'll trap it back in place.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets out and they have to lure it back in to then close the cage. I guess would be my assumption.
That's my assumption, is some sort of.
But does this not feel like a defeat to you?
No, to just trap it back? No. No, I think that's different than what they do in the movies.
I agree that it's different. I just think it's like there are some passages to the book that I find so important to the story, especially considering how much Stephen King just wanders in some of his books, that like there's a lot of it that I don't think you would need to follow, but there's some like very clear principles to the magic system that is the Dark Tower and is it, that I just feel a little bit awkward when they do things like break the system. But I guess that's the whole thing that bugs me about why the show needs to be this show, is that like a prequel is just not necessary to me. I don't know what the point of this prequel is other than to just show it doing cool stuff, which I think could have just been more of that.
I see definitely how they could wrap this up as a series, this app, doing what I talked about with the kids, and then General Shaw's relief of command for
General Shaw dies.
Farting on a 2-star general.
He's
or something.
Gotta die.
He died, whatever. And that wraps it up. Because we've already completed the 27-year cycle. The next 27-year cycle will be the first movie. So what could there possibly be for a whole nother season? You know what I mean? Because I see a really neat and tidy way to wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean,
in this next
maybe
app.
they go further back. I still think it would have just been way cooler to just do, they did a season per disaster.
Going further back would be interesting. Then they could do something interesting this app that reframes how we're thinking about this. I'm not predicting that. I think probably, given the track record, they're going to do something that doesn't make sense and resets the board for next season, and I think I'll be disappointed by that.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Stay gold.
Stay golden, Pony Boy.